Hello everybody, here we are today talking about the news that Connor Bedard is set to miss time with an injury. Now before we start, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. So yeah, just a busy day and ended up recording this video in the car just because I'm on the go today, just one of those days. But the news that Connor Bedard is out 4 to 6 weeks after getting hurt last night with a game in New Jersey, I believe. Fractures his jaw. He is set to miss again about 4 to 6 weeks, which is not a crazy long stretch, but it could have some implications. And if you don't know who Connor Bedard is, he was taken with the first overall pick last year by the Chicago Blackhawks in the draft. This was not something a lot of people were happy about because Chicago has seen some success not too long ago with 3 championships, is an older team, and a lot of people wondered about, is the league rigged? We're not here to talk about that. We are here, though, to talk about the implications of Bedard's injury and what could happen with that. So for starters, the Calder is going to be something that we could see impacted with this. Bedard is first in all categories of goals, assists, and points for NHL rookies. He has 15 goals, 18 assists, for 33 points in 39 games played. That is not a point per game average, but is still one of those situations where you're impressed by what you've seen, and with some of these goals that he's been able to have, especially, you're really impressed by that. In this situation, missing about a month to a month and a half might not push him out of the Calder vote, but it could make things more difficult for him, and you would hate to see a guy that could have been the Calder winner end up losing it because of an injury. Now, I will say at the same time, too, there are plenty of deserving candidates for this award. At the beginning of the year, a lot of people talked about Faber with Minnesota, and the fact that he's been able to have a good defensive role with the team or good defensive value, whereas Bedard not so much, although you got to argue about what kind of teammates that he's getting to play with this year. But the point remains that you want to see this be a clean race where there is not a lot of bias, although again with Bedard's impact and how he's talked about, you could argue that. But we could see a situation where the Calder winner is different because of this injury. Now, is Bedard out of the running with this? I don't think so, but if we don't see him win it, a lot of people will be comparing stats and saying, if he hadn't missed these games, here's how many goals or assists he could have ended up with, and this is that. So that's one of the top things. The second thing is the All-Star game. This is not as important because not as many people are interested in it. I watch the All-Star game despite how awful it is. Not just hockey in general, but most sports have a problem with the All-Star game being bad because you don't want players to get hurt. So it's not taken as seriously. However, it is a situation where Bedard was selected to the All-Star, and he is not going to be playing in that game. So you're going to be wondering who's going to be filling in for him. Answer is, I don't know at the moment, but that's something you could keep an eye on for. But something that is much more important than this is the draft lottery and what is at stake here. The Hawks selected Bedard with the first overall pick last year, being one of the worst teams in the league. They look like one of the worst teams in the league this year as well, as they have the second best odds of landing the top pick. They are 3 points ahead of the San Jose Sharks. They have the best odds. But let's say that during this run, San Jose just has a terrible stretch, or I should say a good stretch, and Chicago has a terrible stretch. You could see the Hawks end up getting to where they have better odds to get the first overall pick. Maybe they win it. Maybe they get another top overall selection. And the talk about the league being rigged is that much more apparent. Maybe they play better than San Jose during this run. Maybe another team plays worse than them, and then they have better odds of having a better record, I should say. And this is squashed a little bit. I personally kind of in that camp where they will probably be in the top 3 for odds of selecting in the first overall pick. But we will see, and I know a lot of people are really going to be centered around the draft lottery because people are not a big fan of Chicago, and that is what it is. And then finally, this is something that doesn't matter at all to anybody but me. My birthday is coming up, and my wife and I were talking about going to a game. Chicago is the closest team to us, so we were thinking, again, with this being Bedard's rookie year and him only getting to play 41 home games his rookie year, obviously he'll miss some time now too, it really would be special to say, hey, I got to be one of those people that got to go his rookie season in the home building, the home barn, and get to see him play. I don't know if that's going to happen. He is slated to come back before my birthday. However, at the same time too, if he's got something that's nagging with him here or he gets injured again, I am not going to be buying a ticket to go to a Hawks game. I've been to Chicago before, and it's not a bad city or anything like that, but the main attraction for me is going to see the Hawks play with Bedard if he's injured, I'll probably just drive to Detroit or Columbus to catch another game there. And there's going to be some games in that situation because it's a 4-hour drive and you got to make it worth it. Bedard was going to be something that was going to be worth it in that sense. So yeah, 4 things right there. 2 of them probably don't matter to most people, that being the All-Star game and where I go to watch a game. But hey, that money goes to those teams. So there's that. But the Calder absolutely matters, and so does the draft lottery, because at the end of all this, you don't want a situation where you have a video a couple years down the line on YouTube talking about how Connor Bedard fracturing his jaw led to a Chicago Blackhawks dynasty where they ended up getting the first overall pick thanks to this run. Now, is that all tied together? You know, you can make your points one way or the other, but it is one of those deals where the teams have to perform, and this is a deal where I don't think the games are rigged like they say. Is a lottery rigged? That's your part. So I guess we'll see what happens here, and I do hope that the most deserving candidate wins a Calder, and I would like to see somebody other than Chicago get the top overall pick, but we are going to keep our eyes peeled onto that, and that is for the future. Anyway, what are your thoughts on all this? Do you think that Bedard will still win the Calder, and do you think this will have big impacts for the draft? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night, and you go love hockey, all right.
Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.